Hey y'all, so in my weekly thoughts video about whether Blurryface could be defeated or not, I talked briefly about this topic, but I just wanted to jump into it a little bit more because it's been on my mind this past week. The main thing that I wanted to talk about is this idea of a comfortable prison cell. Basically, what I mean by that is how it's very easy to become comfortable with your blurry face, your bad habits, things that are only hurting you. And I think it's really interesting the fact that you can be doing something that is literally only causing you harm and there's nothing good coming out of it, but you don't want to change because that's scary, that's unknown. Whereas with these bad habits, these things that are just causing you harm, they're familiar because you know what to expect, even if what you're expecting is bad. It makes me think of this analogy of being in a cave. Just like imagine yourself, you're in a completely pitch black cave. You're trapped in there, you can't see anything, everything is terrible. And to leave the cave, you have to go into the sunlight, which will blind you, which will hurt. Whenever you come out of a really dark place and then you go into the light, it's not fun because all of a sudden you're blinded, your eyes hurt, things are terrible. But it's so much better for you once you are out of that place and you can look back and be like, how could I have stayed in that dark cave for so long? How could I have not wanted to come out here where I can see everything, where I can see all these beautiful things? And I think that analogy is really cool because when you're in that dark cave, it may not seem too bad because it's all you've ever known. You're just like, yeah, it's dark, I know what's here. I know what to expect. Whereas to leave the cave is scary. It's unknown. You know that it's going to hurt to change. You know that it's not going to be fun. Even if you're like, well, it's going to be better for me. At the same time, it's going to be hard and difficult. And something it comes down to for me is the fact that you can't always listen and trust your emotions. I mean, you should always, observe them and try to understand why you're feeling certain ways, but you can't just follow your emotions blindly because for me, a lot of times I don't feel like doing something. I don't want to change. I want to stay in a place where I know what's going to happen, even if it's literally not doing any good for me at all. And if I were to listen to my emotions, I would stay in that dark cave and I would never leave. But because I know that it's going to be better once I leave that dark cave, even though I don't feel like doing it, I don't want to, I can slowly push myself to make little steps towards that light, that blinding light. And I just wanted to bring this up because, obviously everyone can find themselves in dark caves, and oftentimes people don't realize they're in that dark cave or they are just too scared to leave. And so I think it's really important to kind of examine yourself and ask, am I in a place that is good for me? Am I in a place that is not causing me harm? Am I only there because I don't want to leave? Sometimes I even find that those dark caves that we can be in, sometimes they're not just like familiar and you can tell that it's causing you harm. Sometimes they're really comfortable. Sometimes, it may not even feel like it's causing you harm, but if you take a step back, you realize that this is not good for you. Leaving that cave is not easy, and people forget that it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be difficult. And it reminds me of, whenever you're having to prune a tree so it can grow bigger and stronger, it hurts, like you're gonna have to cut off a lot of those branches. You're gonna have to let go of a lot of stuff, like I don't think that tree wants to have their branches cut off, okay? And I don't want my branches cut off either. I don't know, it's really interesting to think about and kind of ask yourself, like, where am I right now? Am I engaging in habits and, things that are just causing me harm? And am I only there because I'm comfortable or because it's all I've ever known? And just ask yourself those questions and, you might find some answers that you didn't want to know.